Welcome back, my awesome people. In today's episode, I will be talking with a game-changing individual in the world of sauces and condiments, Laurence Isaac, who is not only a visionary when it comes to innovating and introducing new flavors and spice combinations in his sauces, but he is also the founder of Sinai Gourmet, a Montreal-based artisanal sauce company founded in 2011 that specializes in making fresh, clean label, flavorful gourmet sauces to enhance your meals. It took Laurence over 2 years to perfect the many recipes and hundreds of tests to learn how to keep the sauces fresh and shelf stable without adding any preservatives that are found in other sauces. It would have been easier and cheaper to just use ingredients like vinegar and salt to stretch the ingredients and increase the shelf life. But Laurence's vision was about creating fresh and healthy condiments with flavors that wouldn't overpower your food. Their sauces include a variety of barbecue sauces, hot honey sauces, hot sauces, and maple syrups. And not only that, but Sinai Gourmet has also had their products on the hit show Hot Ones, specifically season 19, which we will talk a little bit more about in the interview. So let's get into this interview and learn more about Sinai Gourmet. Welcome back, my viewers. So I am here again, honored with Laurence, the CEO and founder of Sinai Gourmet. And not only do they sell sauces, but once you get into the interview, you will see that they will be selling a lot more and they'll be everywhere before you know it. So, Laurence, thank you for coming on to the Jacob Rant channel. How are you doing today?
Doing very well, Jacob. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I'm doing well as well. I'm just glad that it's nice and hot outside. Time to go enjoy the outdoors soon.
Absolutely.
So just to get right into it. So what inspired you to start Sinai Gourmet and how did the company come to be?
Well, basically, I love to eat. I mean, like it's one of my greatest passion in food. One of my greatest passions in life is food. I love eating. My grandmother was a phenomenal cook, and just like I remember, like these meals she would make, and it just like I would sit there and eat even way past when I was full, and just because the food was so good. So, and when I got older, I started to love eating spicy. So we started with hot sauces. And I went to a steakhouse and I ordered like a beautiful ribeye with all the fixing, mashed potatoes, whatnot. And I asked for hot sauce because I like to heat up my food a little bit, you know. And they brought me Tabasco because every restaurant in the entire universe had Tabasco. Without even thinking about it, I put Tabasco all over my steak and it just killed like all the vinegar and strong flavors just killed my steak. Like my ribeye basically just tastes like Tabasco. I was so disappointed.
I've been there. I've been there.
Yeah. And then I went around looking for, and then I guess at that moment it clicked. I'm like, man, why is there like a fresh hot sauce? Something that tastes fresh that I could put on something like a ribeye or a salmon or like scallops or like, you know, the best of best ingredients or like your grandmother's favorite recipe that you don't want to adulterate too much. You just want to add a little heat, but you still want it to taste the way she had it, had the way she designed it. And so I went around looking for vinegar-free hot sauces, fresh hot sauces, and nobody sold it. And it was a simple reason why is that it is a pain in the ass to make it. It is really complicated. Vinegar is your preservative. It's what gives you the buffer. And so taking it out is really hard. But so basically, Sinai Gourmet started by figuring out how to make vinegar-free hot sauces that had a fresh flavor profile. And then the second rule we had is no artificial ingredients, no chemicals, no fillers. It had to be stuff you found in your kitchen and stuff that people knew. And so combining those two things is basically the philosophy of Sinai. We want to get the best products out there, but they have to be clean. And it has to be stuff I'd feed my kids, you know? Like if I wouldn't feed it to my kids, then I'm not selling it to my customers.
No, definitely. And you know what? That is exactly what I'm sure many people like both me and you who love sauces, especially hot sauces, have gone through when they were growing up. We had the main, couple of sauces. We had sriracha, we had Tabasco, maybe something else like Frank's, I believe, Frank's hot sauce. Other than that, everything else was very niche made. But
Absolutely.
yours is not going to be only niche, but you're going to go into the mainstream. So you're going to be eventually competing with the Tabascos. Am I correct?
I mean, Tabasco is huge. Like people, like
Yeah.
so. For example, like we, I'm an entrepreneur, and part of being an entrepreneur is being a little bit dreamy and having big ideas. But the other aspect has got to be realistic. Tabasco is huge. It is a monster. Like we're talking like something like 400,000 bottles of sauce a day. Like they are making ginormous numbers. Like so, for example, we make ketchup. We just started pushing our ketchup pretty heavily online. We're getting
Nice.
ripped by people that are telling us that, oh, Heinz, Heinz, Heinz. And I tell people, Heinz is going to be okay.
Us versus them comparison. Liquid sugar, real brown sugar. 4 grams of sugar per serving, 2 grams of sugar per serving, 150 milligrams of sodium per serving, 80 milligrams of sodium per serving. Tastes pretty good. Tastes amazing.
Heinz owns like 70% of the market in North America. You don't have to worry about Heinz. These are gigantic machines. We just want a little piece of the
Yeah.
pie. So, yeah, I mean, we take a little bit of market share from the Tabascos and the Heinz of the world, but they are huge, huge
Yeah,
companies.
can you go a little bit deeper into the world of sauces? What does the world of sauces look like? As an average consumer like myself, we only
Yeah,
see the commercials, we see, word of mouth, we see the shelves when we go to the grocery store. But other than
yeah.
that, we're pretty new to the world of sauces. So can you just give us a little background on that?
Well, so the world of sauces is basically like, I mean, I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here,
Oh,
but
go for it.
I mean, as I'm sure most of your listeners know, and I'm sure you've noticed, like the last 20, 30 years, there's just been huge consolidation, and all business is basically moving upstream to big, big companies. The world of sauces is no different. I mean, ketchup belongs to Heinz, basically. There's other little companies there that are carving out little niches, but mayo belongs to Hellman's. Hot sauce is basically like Tabasco owns Frank's Tabasco. There's some pretty big guys out there. I think Cholula, if I'm not mistaken, was just bought by a private equity firm a couple years ago, and they bought the distribution because Cholula is everywhere. Um, it's a lot. It's a few huge players, and then there's like a whole, I don't know what to call it, but like let's say a secondary category of all little companies like mine that are fighting for all that other business, and that you'll find in more like the high end restaurants. You'll find us in like nice little grocery stores, but also like in hot sauces. Now some of the big grocery stores have the hot sauce shelves. I don't know, like my local grocery store has a shelf. It's basically like a whole bunch of different
Yeah,
hot
ours
sauces.
too. Yeah.
So they're trying to do that, and that's consumer driven because consumers are loving to explore different hot sauces, and they're tired of like when I was a kid, I went to the grocery store. It was like you said, Frank's, Tabasco, Sriracha, and maybe like I don't know, maybe one more. It escapes me now what the other, but there's like 3, 4 sauces. Um, so there's a lot of us little guys fighting for customer attention and to try, and the advantage of that is you get all these beautiful hot sauces, some really interesting flavor profile. I
Yeah,
just met a kid last
there's a lot of
weekend.
unique flavors that even you guys have, right? For example,
Yeah,
I've seen one of your products, the infused maple syrup. Viewers, it's not what you think it is, but infused maple syrup actually, I'm just going to read out some of the qualities. Is you guys use vanilla pods and cinnamon from Madagascar and yuzu juice from Japan.
yes.
So that alone just sets you guys apart from, I would say, majority of sauce companies. So can you tell us more about the ingredients and how do you come up with these amazing and interesting ideas?
So the ideas, I think there's many different. Like sometimes it's customer feedback. Sometimes it's some of our resellers that are looking for something. Sometimes we're dealing with other companies that want looking for a special product, so we design it for them. And sometimes I just, one of us will have like a dream and dream of some kind of flavor profile and make it. Like, for example, the blueberry pie, I just dreamed it up one night and it seemed like a good idea. And it's my dessert hot sauce. Like, you can put
Oh,
that on vanilla
wow.
ice cream or chocolate cake, and it's absolutely delicious.
Un croissant, un café crème, ça remplace les je t'aime. Quand au sortir de son lit, on est seul dans la vie, attablé à la terrasse, du café du temps qui passe. J'attendais que le patron me présente l'addition. Aujourd'hui, pas de moustache, pas de bedaine, pas de tache, mais pour me donner la note, une jolie femme hors cote aujourd'hui.
But it's also nice on like game meat, like duck or bison or something like that. It's just a killer. It tastes like blueberry pie, but it's a hot sauce.
That is amazing. I've never heard of that before. Okay, I am
No,
definitely going to be
stuff.
adding that to my grocery list. And so, for example, just to continue with that blueberry, so you said you thought of it one night. So from the idea to the actual product, what steps would you have to take? So
the first step is like research, a lot of research. So I'll find, so for example, for that one, I looked at hundreds of blueberry pie recipes. And then you start testing out different combinations to try to make like your base flavor that you're looking for. And then once you have a base flavor that you're looking for, you try to find that, because this one was a hot sauce. So I try to find peppers that match best with it to get the flavor profile that I want. Then I'm down to, let's say after I've done most of that work, I'm down to like 3 or 4 finalists. And then it's friends and family that get free bottles. And some of our VIP customers will get free bottles of sauce. And then I just, in return, do you prefer number 1, number 2, or number 3? And then from there, or are there any main tweaks needed? And from there, we usually go. But by the time I have 3 samples, like the 3 finalists, so to speak, it's pretty dead on. It's just like little subtleties, and I let people sort of decide. Like, I do my own focus group, so to speak. Yeah. Phase 1 is the research. Phase 1 is research. So I'll make like maybe 30 different types of sauces in the beginning, and I'll narrow it down to 3. And then those 3 is when I stick it to the feedback from other people. But like, you got to do the legwork. You can't give 30 different sauces to people and ask them to pick. It's way too confusing and it's way too much.
By sauce 17, they've already forgot what each one tastes like.
Exactly right.
So with your ingredients and the process and the research especially, I know your company is very highly on ethical standards, sustainability, and so on. I know one of your sauces I just saw was the hot honey, and you actually have sustainable bees. That's actually really, really cool. So can you talk more about your sustainability initiatives and your ethical standards when it comes to not only the ingredients, but also the product that you're putting out?
Yeah, we just try to, like, we're a family business and we have sort of a family focus, and we try to service like our customer. Like I said, like, I wouldn't feed anything that wouldn't feed my own family. And I got kids, so I want to leave a world behind that my kids can sort of enjoy as well. So we try to have a mind towards as sustainable as possible. It gets hard sometimes, I won't lie, especially COVID sort of put a stick in our bicycle wheel with a lot of stuff, because before we used to try to source everything from Canada or the US. Everything. I'm talking even bottles, caps, seals. Like, I really want labels. I wanted everything from here. But, COVID sort of messed up, especially on the packaging side. And now we have to get some stuff from China, which I'm really not a fan of. But until we get to a spot here where we get our suppliers back here and manufacturers are back and they have volume and they're willing to sell, so just try to reduce our footprint. With the bees, we try to work directly with the beekeepers. We try to meet those people, try their bees, try their honey. Get their philosophy behind it, and it makes for interesting relationships.
And so, staying on the topic of ingredients, how do you deal with allergies and preferences? Because I know a lot of people that, even in my own circle, not everybody likes hot sauces, especially hot sauces.
In terms of allergies, the most important thing is we have to declare everything. Like, anytime there's a half dozen known high risk allergens, like peanuts, soy, fish, mustard. Like there's a
Yeah.
half a dozen of those that are like really sort of like triggering for people with sensitivities. So those we have to declare on our packaging. On manufacturing side of things, we have to, if we're going to manufacture, let's say something with a known allergen, we have to make sure that we put it in the line such a way that, because after you do something with an allergen, you got to do a total line teardown. You got to take the machines completely apart, clean everything to make sure there's nothing in it
Yeah.
that can trigger somebody that's got sensitivities. I mean, we're not certified. We don't take it to the point that we're certified for allergen. Like, for example, some people are so sensitive to peanuts that if there's peanuts in the factory in another room, they could get like, you know, if there's just a whisper of peanuts. Like, we don't have that kind of certifications. There are other companies that specialize in that kind of high risk, I guess I would say, allergen or peanut free. So they'll have an entire factory that's just peanut free to make sure that
Okay.
nothing happens. Like, we don't use peanuts, but I'm just giving you an example. Like mustard, we have mustard in storage, but we don't have like a mustard free facility. If that's somebody is so allergic to mustard they're looking for,
Yeah.
that's something else. Um, and then you asked in terms of flavor profiles. Well, you got to sort of like try to. I mean, people we're not all that different from one from another. Like, you know, there's some regional differences in taste, but if something is delicious, it's delicious in most places in the world, and most people will agree that it's delicious. The blueberry pie reception is really good. The one thing I have to say about it is that it causes some confusion with people because they're not quite sure how to use it, because it like, I sort of joke around and say it's a dessert hot sauce, but it legitimately is a hot sauce you could put on dessert, which is not something that everybody's got the mind open to or can like sort of put two and two together. I mean, it's a good hot sauce to put on burgers because you can have blueberries on burgers and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But
It can
you know,
kind
or
of
you
be
can
like
have the
cranberries at Thanksgiving as well, right? It can kind of be like
exactly, yeah,
cranberry
yeah.
sauce.
I've actually had the blueberry pie at Thanksgiving dinner. It was delicious. So yeah, there's a whole part of eating that combines fruit with savory. But it's just, I think with hot sauce, people are not used to it yet. But once people try, we had an event where we just were serving people ice cream and putting blueberry pie hot sauce on it, and like people's eyes were popping out of their head. They just couldn't believe that they were enjoying it so much. And it's such a weird combination in theory, but in your mind, I mean, it makes total sense.
Well, I'm going to be one of those people that's going to be shocked and enjoying it at the same time as well, because as soon as you mentioned that, I'm sold already. So now let's talk about the Hot Ones season. So the Tropicante
Yep.
from Sinai Gourmet was on season 19.
Yep.
I used to watch Hot Ones religiously. It was amazing, but you know, I kind of fell off track because you know life gets in the way. But
Sure
the
does.
but the hot ones episodes. So the Tropicante, it's a tropical hot sauce. It has flavors such as mango, papaya, Scotch bonnet pepper, and a variety of other Caribbean flavors. And it's about 4 to 5,000 Scoville level. So tell us more about the Hot Ones collaboration. How did you contact them, or did they contact you? Can you tell us more about that experience?
Yeah, well, the Hot Ones deals with a store out of New York a hot sauce store, which is fair. I guess I mean, it's no secret that if you want to buy Hot Ones merch or hot sauces, you go to the Heatonist website, and they're a store that we started selling to and working with when they opened back in the day. I mean, before Hot Ones, before they were even associated with Hot Ones, but they got associated with Hot Ones, and so we already had a relationship with them. And we spoke to them and like, hey, we got this new hot sauce. It's fun on wings. It's a tropical twist. It's like bright and banana, like because it's papaya, mango, pineapple, and banana. And banana really comes out like it tastes like, I don't know, the banana sort of pops. It's an interesting sort of twist on banana. And they tried it and they loved it, and we started the whole process to have that season 19 of Hot Ones experience. They're a really good team there. I can't imagine how many sauces those guys must try, because they must try
I can
thousands of
imagine.
sauces a year. I mean, because they are And they only have what, like half a dozen spots to fill on the lineup, because a lot of them are like in-house sauces. So that's a lot of
Exactly.
sauces they're going to try. But they're a great team over there. We sent them sauces. We're going back and forth. And then you discuss like timing. And then with them, the big thing is timing. As you can imagine, everything they want this X amount on X day, and they're hard lines. Like you got to pump. You got to pump it out to get it there in time. Because once the episode's on air, the stuff is flying off the shelf. So
that's hitting a little harder. This is lippy.
Yeah, this is a lippy.
Yeah, it definitely feels like, I'm like those plump lip glosses that all us girls love.
Yeah, free treatment right
That's
here.
right.
Right here on the Hot Ones set.
Did you see my lips after the Hot Ones?
Ask questions later.
Mm-hmm. That's very sweet.
See?
That doesn't do... I mean, the other one was...
Had a little more of a kick.
One.
See, I wasn't joking, though, about the hot sauce symphony.
Look, you're conducting right now, yeah.
Right.
That's the one that one of my favorites is Khaled.
Oh, yeah.
If I quit, don't mean I gave up. Well, I like that. That's mentality.
So far, so good?
Mm-hmm.
Looks like you're enjoying the wings.
I'm hungry, man.
I can see that.
But I'm trying to okay, let me save myself.
Jeez. Again, very pleasant.
Lovely.
Very pleasant.
So far.
So far, I would go so far as to say I'm having a nice time.
There we go. We'll see if we can keep it going.
Now let's take a couple of steps back. In the business part of your company, what challenges did you face or have you faced in bringing these sauces to market? So I know you said that when you create a product, you have to do tons of research, then you get the feedback, but then the step of actually taking it to market, what were some of the challenges that you faced and how did you overcome them?
Well, the first challenge, I'd say there's two challenges. First of all, is when we design recipes, we have no cost in mind. So we just do the recipe to get the best possible flavor profile and to really get the highest premium ingredients we can in the product. And so once we get a product that's, let's say, a finalist, then we have to look at it and say, like, how much is this going to cost to make? If you're making small batches and your ingredient and your source, I mean, when you're buying low volume, your costs are like way higher because, your fruit guy is not giving you a discount. Your glass guy is not giving you, nobody's giving, so that'll drive your costs up like crazy. But and then so that's one step. So then once you've got it costed out and everything makes sense numbers wise, the other big challenge we have is to get it from test kitchen format, viable product, to manufacturing scale is a whole bunch of issues. It's always issues. Like, for example, the blueberry pie at the beginning, we wanted a smoothness to it, but it's easy to do in your pot in the kitchen with a hand mixer, but when you've got 500 kilos of sauce and blueberries mixing, getting that smooth texture is a whole other thing. So we have to figure out how to get the machines working together or recirculating stuff to recut it. Even the ketchup, to make the ketchup silky. Ketchup is like silky textured and smooth. Yeah. Like that's a whole ball of it's a whole thing to get that going. So again, it's recirculating, heating, getting to the right temperatures, and then
pretty much trial and error the whole step way.
Yeah, well, you don't want to do too much trial and error because when you've got $5,000 worth of product inside of a kettle, if you screw it up, that kind of sucks.
That really does. That is actually a tough challenge to make sure that not only does it taste like what you want it to taste like, but also have the consistency of what you want it to be. And you're right, right? Like whatever you cook on your stove is going to be a lot easier to make and to control than cooking it in a 10,000 liter vat in a factory. So that is definitely a big challenge. And so is this one of the main challenges before getting to market? Like, for example, funding. I know a lot of businesses that I've spoken with, they would just, traditional ways, go to the bank, maybe borrow from friends and family. How was Sinai Gourmet's funding? Like, you don't have to get into details, but
similar. I mean, we work with our bank, and we like we had loans in the beginning and stuff like that. Like there's similar. I mean, and it's also scale. At the beginning, we started really small, and then we started scaling up every year. And now we have, we can fund some of our projects, but like about like a year ago, we did a little bit of a bigger project and had to go back to the bank to sort of get some money to try to do it, because sometimes it's more than we have at that moment in cash. So you gotta find means. So yeah.
And plus, you don't want to blow everything that you have on one project, right? Like, say it doesn't go as you want it to go. So at least you have that support from other financial institutions, and not just
yeah. But if you blow it, you still got to pay back the money. Like,
you still got to pay it back. That is
true.
They don't
care.
It's a win-win for them always.
Yeah. They're getting their money back unless you close your doors and hide. But and then once you've got all that, then the next step is going to market, and that's the extremely expensive part.
The advertising,
all the costs
marketing.
I've talked about right now are nothing compared to going to market, and that's like market. Like, we are still a small company. A lot of people, like, you probably didn't know about us 6 months ago. So,
I didn't.
Exactly. So, like, trying to get out there, trying to get people to know who we are, trying to get people to look at our website, and all that costs money. I mean, we do word of mouth, but word of mouth is it'll give you some customers, but it's not going to give you the scale that you want to grow to the size that you'd like to. So it's just investments, selling at a loss, pumping out product, doing demos, marketing. It's just marketing like crazy. Yeah.
It really is. I know almost every business person says that you can have the worst product, but have the best marketing and you can sell. You can have the best product, not so good marketing, and you won't sell. So it really is marketing the dividing point. When it comes to understanding market trends, what's popular, like, for example, some companies might have a season where they might just have a certain color of a hot sauce because it's popular for that season. Does Sinai Gourmet play with any of those, or is it pretty much?
I'm not really into that game, but I mean, maybe we should. Like, for example, I don't know if you remember, like 2 years ago, I guess Instagram is a great cesspool for that kind of, like,
it is
what's popular. Instagram and TikTok. But like 2 years ago, some company made like pink sauce.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was.
I have no idea. I had somebody that we contacted that tried it. Apparently, it was absolutely revolting.
That's what I heard as well.
They sold a lot of that stuff because they pumped. Like, I'm going to throw a number, but let's say $500,000, $1 million in Instagram ads. I actually met a drinks company out in LA, and they were spending $500,000 a month on TikTok marketing. Like,
wow.
I think a lot of people, and that's why I try to tell a lot of entrepreneurs that are starting in this business or in a business, is you have no idea how much some people are spending on these things. The numbers are ridiculous. So get ready. Like, that's who you're competing against, because you're trying to get eyeballs on social media, because like, social media is a good avenue in terms of your turnover rate in social media is astronomically low. So by turnover rate, I mean, like, you spend $1,000 in marketing, you might sell $100 worth of stuff. It's really low, really, really low. But you get a lot of exposure, and you visits on your websites, you can build your brand. And that's why the big companies spend absolute fortunes on it. But they're just, excuse my expression, they're pissing the money away, but they can afford to do that because they're just building their brand up. So I met, like I said, I met a couple guys, and they were spending like $500,000. $200,000 a month. One company, $500,000 a month. Another company, every month, month in, month out. That's like, what is that? $6 million a year.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you, because I've heard many of those stories as well, where $1 million a month, $2 million a month. Holiday season comes around, might be spending $5 million just for 3 weeks. Right? Like the Super Bowl, what is it? 10 to 15 million for a 20-second ad. The marketing is outrageous, and the big companies, the conglomerates, they're the ones that can afford it. And as you said, piss it away. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, great. Right? They could recoup at any time. But
I'll tell you like the secret sauce. And if there's any of your viewers out there, or you know anybody that's like a whiz at social media marketing, like we've been looking for somebody for a long time. And I've interviewed dozens and dozens of people. But like we have a little Montreal company here where one of the founders, there are three founders, and one of them was a social media like marketing whiz. And he knew what he was doing, and they have grown insanely just because he was a pro at that. And so there's a way of doing it, but unless you've got all the money in the world, you need to be really good at it.
Exactly. You have to be very, very fluent in this new way of advertising and marketing. What was it? Less than 20, 30 years ago, we had flyers, sending flyers to your mailbox, to your door. You had the radio all the time. Nobody even listens to that. Nobody really even watches the television. Now it's all about what's in your hand. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all of those platforms. And I know those platforms, if you realistically look at it, those platforms are pretty much the only way to market. Nobody looks at any other avenue anymore. But when it comes
events is a big part of our marketing. Events,
like
festivals, events, like that's a bit like face to face. That's my favorite stuff to do. We do a lot of that stuff.
Especially when it comes to food, I think events are definitely number one because the way you explained the blueberry pie to me made me want to buy it. But if I just saw a commercial or if I just saw a radio, it may not push me as much as you pushed me. But at an event, it's like, hey, try it. Boom, you're hooked.
Exactly.
Now you're a customer.
Absolutely.
and that's one of the issues of the food world, right? If you're not one of those people willing to put yourself out there, willing to put your product out there, you may not make as much as a person who is, even though their product may not be as good as yours. So it's a tough world, the business world, especially in our current society. But you know what? You've already got your foot in the door. You've already broken through the door. You guys are already doing amazing. So I think the next step is just moving on up. That's about it. But I am definitely going to be a customer. Pretty much after this interview, I will definitely buy a couple of bottles. So I am definitely looking forward to trying your sauces. So what are your future plans for Sinai Gourmet? Are there any new products that you are maybe experimenting with right now, or any expansions?
Yeah, we're doing, we do a lot of, so we do barbecue sauces. Our barbecue sauces are really popular. Again, all in the philosophy that we're trying to keep it as healthy as possible within the category. So those are proving really popular, the barbecue sauces.
Our Korean barbecue sauce versus pretty much every other Korean barbecue sauce on the market. 550 milligrams per 2 tablespoons, 650 milligrams of sodium for the same amount. Fresh garlic, fresh ginger, fresh green onion, fresh pears, fresh lemon juice. Really not sure, but ascorbic acid, citric acid, xanthan gum, potassium sorbate. Gluten-free. Not gluten-free. Tastes homemade and authentic. Tastes like it came out of a factory.
We're working with a ice cream manufacturer. We're making ice cream sauces for them.
Ooh.
So that's going to be a fun project. I don't know if we'll try. We're still in discussion as to what's going to happen the next step. I don't know if we're going to end up putting that under our brand for some versions of it or not. But we'll see. But really, it's it's 3 amazing products we made for them that are really delicious. And yeah, we've got a lot of other stuff in the pipeline. We're trying to work on some more classic condiments. Like I said, we just got the ketchup, and the ketchup's phenomenal. Like, I'm really pleased with what my team did. And
what will be your top, say, 5 sauces right now? Your top 5 lineup.
It's in the hot sauce. It'll be like the Tropicante jalapeno maple, which is the OG, which is probably why. In the barbecue sauces, the Korean and the South Carolina are super popular. And the hot honey is always a good seller, like the artisanal hot honey or the habanero honey. And then the ketchup is actually coming up pretty fast. Like, it's an easy product. We're priced. I mean, we're a premium product, but it's about the same size as a Heinz glass bottle, and it's at $5.99, which is pretty good for a small brand and a small company. I think we priced it pretty nicely.
And it's clean, right? It's not GMO tomatoes, no additives, no preservatives.
Yeah, Canadian tomatoes, high quality tomatoes. We don't put any liquid sugar in there. We put brown sugar, like real brown cane sugar. And we got about half the salt, half the sodium, and half the sugar of the big brand stuff, like the Heinz or the French's. So we're like, it's clean, it's lower sodium, lower sugar, and it tastes amazing. So I'm like, it's really an everyday, like, we on the bottle it says kid approved, and it's no word of a lie. Every kid that has tried it is eating it just like that fry commercial from way back when the little kids dipping in the fries and the ketchup there, like they're happy. And,
I love that.
It is making people happy with food, and like creating positive memories with food is just like, it's one of the secrets to life, I think, is good food.
It really is. I mean, if you have great company, great food, great laughter, I mean, what else can beat that? Nothing else. What type of maybe future do you see for sauces? Do you think sauces are going to get hotter than what it's already out there? Do you think it might get tamed? Do you think it'll be more experimental? What do you think about the sauce world?
I think for us, we're betting that the direction is going to be clean label, but I think that's going to be general in the food industry. Like, I look at all the health issues, cancer rates, dementia, sickness, all kinds of diseases and malaise that people have. And what you eat, in my opinion, is a huge part of that. Like, it's a huge part of your lifestyle recipe would be what you eat, and all the shit that we put in food and that we have put in food the last 60 years, for me, is directly linked to the health issues we're having. I mean, there's environmental stuff too, like way too much plastic in the world. And like, I think they found microplastics even in like a tribe in the Amazon, because it's coming down with rainwater from the ocean.
Yep, so, it's everywhere now.
But like, reducing your chemical and man-made ingredient intake is going to be a huge part of it. That's why we won't even use citric acid. We don't use xanthan gum. We don't use a whole bunch of stuff that's safe. And it just are like, that's where I think health is going and people's choices are going. Organic is fine, I guess. I didn't play in organic just because I think it's mostly a certification process, and that the food is not necessarily better quality. And that was sort of proven to me last time I went to CHFA West, and I'm at the Natural Product Food Expo too. And it's like organic food, but it's filled with chemicals in it. So it's really the same as conventional foods, just certified organic. So that's where I think it's going. Sauces. Listen, we have an increasingly mixed population coming into Canada and the United States. Like, we're people coming from all over the world, and there's all kinds of different flavor profiles, and sauces are fun. I've met in my life a handful of people that don't like sauces, and I find them weird. Like,
Me too. I do too.
There's a sauce out there for everybody. It's just a matter of finding the right sauce. But sauces are fun.
They are fun. They change up the food that you're eating. You can eat steak every single day, but depending on the sauce that you put on it, you can have a totally different meal. And that's what exactly. I mean, sauce is life. That's how I see it.
But so I think for us, we're going to keep focusing on that. And I don't know if we're going to go into different types of sauces. Like, that's sort of, we're looking at, like I said, the ice cream project and different projects like that, more mainstream condiments. But for us, it's just respecting that philosophy of like, we're trying to give, we're premium, we're gourmet, but trying to give the most value and the healthiest possible sauce in that category is where we want to be.
It's always health first, because as we said earlier, honestly, every hot sauce that I've tried, vinegar based, you can just tell, it's like spicy vinegar. It's not even flavorful. It's like spicy vinegar. Okay, no, thank you for that. So now that we're talking about expansion of your company and your business, in the next couple of months, we do have the American elections coming up, and I know I've talking to a lot of, and I know you're Canadian, but next year is the Canadian election, and I know I've talked to a lot of business people and CEOs, and they've said that they would prefer a Republican leader because it will cut the red tape, the regulations, especially when it comes to expanding their business. As a Canadian, and elections are next year, does politics play in any way with your company, or
They're all the same.
all the same? Okay.
Republicans and Democrats, to me, they're all just subservient to the big money interests.
It's true. They're just puppets.
So very few politicians out there. Actually, it's not very few. It's zero.
Yeah.
Out there take the interest of the little guy seriously. They all pitch a big game, but they do it for votes. And like Republican or Democrat, I'm not on Wall Street. They don't give a shit about me. I'm not a multinational. They don't give a shit about me. I'm not going to write them $1 million donation check. They don't give a shit about me. I honestly don't think it makes a lick of difference. I mean, it can make a difference in the short term, but in the long term, they both. It's even in Canada. It's like basically one party with, they're selling 3 different products. In our case, there's 4 or 5 parties, but really the products aren't that different. It's just, it's the same product, different sales pitch, maybe is the best way to put it.
Exactly. And I mean, I think the parties, whether it's Canadian or American, is just pretty much, 2 wings of the same bird, right? They might have 1 or 2 things that are different, but they both are just following orders from their corporate overlords. So Laurence, any inspirational, motivational advice that you would give to not only an aspiring entrepreneur that wants to get into the food and hospitality and that type of industry, but just business in general? Any advice for the up and coming business person?
I'd say do what you love, because life is a marathon and not a sprint.
That is the perfect way of saying it. And, my viewers, I always talk about never rush into things. Fast money is never good money. Always make sure that you take your time, you do the research, you build a team, inquire, right? Because as Laurence said, you can't just go from an idea right to market. You got to do your research. You got to put in your due diligence. And that also goes with stocks. If your neighbor says, hey, buy this stock, don't just jump into it. Do your own due diligence. All right.
Unless he's the CEO of the company and he's telling you to buy his stock before the earning call. Buy that stock.
If you are Laurence's neighbor, just listen to him when he says buy Sinai Gourmet. All right. But on that note, Laurence, thank you so much for sitting with me today. We learned a lot about not only the world of sauces, but about Sinai Gourmet and the products you offer. You already got me sold on the blueberry pie, so that is definitely something I'm going to check out. My viewers, if you guys are tired of Tabasco, Frank's, even sriracha sauce, please check out Sinai Gourmet. I'll put all the details and description in the bottom. So if you enjoyed this interview and you got any value from it, please subscribe. And until the next video, stay ranting.